February's Typhoon. Today we are having Typhoon Kari, and I always forget to use the Typhoon. So ta-da! We're using the Typhoon today. How are you, Kari?
I'm wonderful. Hey, so the 725 people at Secret Beach, aloha. I am sorry. I was a minute late. I was dealing with my cat in the bathroom, so sorry about that. That's not a euphemism. I really have a cat, and she was in the bathroom. Hi, everybody.
What's going on? You're going to play us a little tune to start? You're going to play us a song about taking pictures to start the class?
I don't have a song yet about taking pictures, but now you made me want to create one, so I probably will now. So anyway, aloha, everybody in the Secret Beach. How are you? It's wonderful to be here with you on this beautiful Saturday, wherever you might be.
Kari and I have been friends a long, long time, and fast friends, if I recall, too. When we first met.
I'm trying to remember exactly how. It had to do with tiki. That I know.
Yeah, you know, it's especially when you exist in a world like the tiki world or the rockabilly world, you realize, oh shit, we're friends already. And I don't remember how we got to that point.
I know.
You bump into each other at a tiki event, you just start chatting, and next thing you know, we've been friends forever. Yeah,
this is true. And with Stacy. So so it's good friends getting to hang out. I'm in Palm Springs. He's in Las Vegas. This is the world of modern technology, which is wonderful.
Yep.
So,
and Kari wears many hats, does many careers, and today we're talking about the photography hat. Whoops, there we go. There it is.
Ah!
Oh, Stacy says she didn't like you right away.
She's not what?
Debbie wants to know how long it took. Way to leave it to Stacy to keep you in check. There you go.
I didn't know that about Stacy. Gosh.
So the reason it was so funny because when I did my photography webinar, like way back year one of Secret Beach, I said back then, I said, oh, one day we'll have a professional come in too and tell us a little bit more from a technical standpoint. And I'm like, I'll go find one. And just one day, I'm like, go find one. My best friend is a photographer. Like, duh. Like I was seriously going to go find somebody I didn't know. I'm like, oh my God, every event we're at, you have a big giant camera, this camera picture around your neck. So who better to talk to? So I figured we'd start with a few of the pictures. You have taken photos for a few different magazines.
Yeah, I specialize. I mean, I do all kinds of photography. I specialize over the years just because of interests and being in the right place at the right time. I've become known as a photographer of magic and magicians, which is a very specialized field, but I photograph everything. I've done architecture, portraiture. I do a lot of event photography, show photography, live performance photography, so a lot of everything. But these are pictures of just a few of the covers that I've done for a couple of the magic magazines and other shoots that I've done that I guess he's going to show, so.
So how many takes did it take to get the coins in the air just right?
That is not, and here's the thing I pride myself on, that is not photoshopped at all. That was done at the Magic Castle in Hollywood after the Magic Castle closed for the night. This band, Eric Jones, had been performing, and he only had a very limited amount of time for me to do his cover. So I said, well, why don't I just meet you at the Magic Castle afterwards? And I said, I've got some ideas for you. And he said, well, you know what? He said, my signature thing is tossing the coins up in the air. Can you get this? And the light was really low. Everything was crazy. It wasn't the most ideal way, but we just did. I think this took about 20 takes to get it. It's not that I couldn't get the coins in the air, but sometimes they were a little blurry or they weren't perfectly.
Right. They got to be perfectly spaced. That's where you got to do it. I mean, because,
about 20 times, and we got this one, and it was like, that's the one. Bam. So that was shot at about 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Is that Dan too in the broken mirror?
Yes, that's him without the makeup, without the stain.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is he a nice guy?
He's a very nice guy. He and his wife Tamika are lovely people. They live in Vegas, actually.
Now, did he break the mirror just for the photo shoot, or was that already there?
Well, I did. This was a concept that I had. This was originally supposed to be the cover of the magazine. The one that you saw with him all made up was what the editors chose to take instead. But the one with him with all the makeup and the spiky hair, they ended up choosing that one for the cover. But we created this one especially for the cover, and I got safety mirror. I bought a mirror, an old mirror replaced the mirror that was in there with safety mirror, shattered it. And when you shatter safety mirror, it doesn't fall out in pieces. It won't hurt you. And then I just took a broken piece of mirror and had him hold it up. So yeah, that was supposed to be the cover, but ended up being an inside picture instead. That is Steve Valentine, who's an actor and a magician, a wonderful guy. And I had him recreate, he does a series of lectures. This was also supposed to be the cover of a magazine, but ended up being an inside piece. He's somebody he does lectures on using magic's history, learning from magic's history in the past. So there's a famous picture of an old deceased magician named Cardini. And I recreated Steve in the exact same pose as the famous picture. So everything about it. And if you put the two side by side, I mean, you can't tell the two apart. So this was actually a photograph that I matched to an original old antique photo. Walt Disney World, the China.
Where that is, I was wondering where that was.
That's reflecting the clouds, reflecting against the pond outside of the China Pavilion at Walt Disney World, and the lily pads, and it was just a beautiful arty photo that I took. But yeah, oh, and those are friends of both of ours, Rebecca and Dave, who owned the Purple Orchid Tiki Bar in El Segundo. This was the inside photo for Feature and Tiki magazine of that was about them and their bar that they own, and how they've put this town of El Segundo back on the map because of their bar.
That is awesome. All right, without further ado, I'm gonna take myself out. I'll pop back in every once in a while when I have a question for you.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kari.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. First of all, I want to make sure that you know that whatever I'm going to teach you today is not to intimidate you, or this is to enlighten you. I might be a professional photographer who uses a big, expensive camera, but you don't have to be. For eBay, you got to remember that your pictures, are never going to be seen bigger than this, probably on somebody's iPad or on their cell phone. They'll be this big. You do not need to get a big, huge, fancy camera. Your iPhone or your smartphone will work just fine. If you have anything older than an iPhone 6, this is my iPhone 6, believe it or not. I still have an iPhone 6. I use this for my eBay pictures, and it works just fine. Anything less than iPhone 6 will probably be too grainy. And my guess is whatever you currently have, whatever smartphone you have now, whatever digital camera you have now, is probably superior to this, and you're going to take just fine pictures. So don't worry about that. But people ask me, do you have to have a professional camera to take eBay pictures? And the answer is no. However, if you don't feel comfortable using your smartphone and you're thinking about getting a camera, this slide that Jason's got up right now, this is the most popular, inexpensive digital camera that you can get. My iPhone, once again, I'm going to try not to be too technical with you. Digital cameras capture images with something called megapixels. The iPhone 6 has 8 megapixels, all right? The new iPhone has 12 megapixels, which, yeah, exactly what Jason just held up. Great, great, great photos. This camera here that you can get for less than $100 has 20 megapixels. My professional camera, my Canon that I use to shoot things for the sides of buses and for big advertisements and magazine covers, is 25 megapixels. So once again, you're going to get great quality. If you just want to spend less than $100, get this camera, or you can Google anything, Google search best inexpensive digital cameras, and they'll give you a list of about 10. But I think something like the Sony or the Kodaks are usually, you're going to get a good quality camera with one of those too. So don't feel intimidated if you need to get one of those cameras, if you feel you need to invest. Otherwise, your cell phone, whatever you've got, your smartphone will probably take good enough pictures. So that's the first thing about cameras.
And I should have said right at the get-go, Kari also sells on eBay. So it's not like she's coming at this from a blind perspective. She sells on eBay, and I help her with things from time to time. So that's kind of the other reason that it's good that she's talking to us, because she knows both ends of it.
Yeah, I'm an eBay dabbler, as we did actually we did a dabbler thing. So so I'm going to say that there's something called, you probably heard the phrase, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, a good eBay picture can be worth eventually over time thousands of dollars. I'm going to talk to you about, we're going to show you examples of good eBay pictures versus bad eBay pictures. and just minor adjustments you can make, and how to create also your own home photo studio. Now, what you buy and what you need to create your own home photo studio, you don't have to spend more than $75, and maybe even less depending on what it is you're selling. But if you're selling clothing, this mannequin right here that you see up here on the thing, you can get one of these on eBay or Amazon, and they run between $35 and $40. It will make a huge difference on how your clothes are going to look. So I'm going to backtrack just for a second here, because just this slide came up a little bit earlier than I was expecting. But anyway, good eBay photos can bring you in. It's worth your investment to create a little studio and buy things like this mannequin and a few other things I'm going to tell you about, because you'll make your money back in triple fold, because your pictures are going to look better. It's going to make somebody's go, oh, I need to buy that because that looks fantastic. So he said, I've got my notes here. eBay also gives you free space for 12 pictures. Use that free space. Use those 12 pictures up, because I'm of the belief that too much information is better than not enough. So once again, unless you're selling a CD, in which case Jason will tell you front, back, and maybe the condition of the CD. But if you're selling clothing or something that's a figurine or an item or something that's deep fabrics, use up those 12 pictures. Let me see. And you want to be able to, use that picture. They want to know. The other thing that's great about taking too many pictures, using up that 12 place, if you use up those 12 pictures, you're going to be able to answer a lot of questions. I would rather spend a few seconds more and take an additional picture or two and load it up than have to deal with 24 personal messages saying, well, how big is that chip on the vase? Or what is the texture of the fabric? Or is that really blue or is that really green? I can't tell by the photo. Good photos will save you a lot of time because you won't have to answer the questions. They can clearly see in the picture what it is. So let me see. So anyway, don't be intimidated. I'm here to help you make more money, and that's always a good thing.
So speaking of questions, when you take photos with your phone, Paul wants to know if you use a tripod on your phone.
I don't, and that's another. And I'm going to bring that up. The reason I don't use a tripod is because I have good lighting. And that's a big thing. Now, the reason for using a tripod on your phone, I do use tripods for other things, and I will talk about that in a minute. But the reason I don't use a tripod on my cell phone is because my lighting is good, so my pictures are going to be clear and crispy. If you are, and lighting is key. Jason, put up that picture of me with good lighting and makeup. Do you know that one? I'm not sure if he knows.
You mean the one you sent in the group of all the rest?
Yeah. No, yeah, the one that was picture number, which photo is that from my notes? I can't remember. But there's a good picture of me that's well lit and with makeup on, and it makes a huge difference.
Oh, here.
Yeah, there we go. See now?
It was the next slide, sorry.
There we go. That's what good lighting can do. And so if you have good lighting, and I'm going to tell you about how to create good lighting, you really don't need to use a tripod. If you have some sort of a medical condition, however, that gives you the shakes, you are just a person who just shakes, then definitely use a tripod, even with good lighting. So that's the time to use a tripod. Is if there's a shaky, or if you're going in for a macro shot or something like that. That's another thing I'm going to explain. All right, so let's go back to here, my list. We talked about what kind of camera you should use. You can use your cell phone, or you can use get that camera that I was telling you about, an inexpensive digital camera, which will work just fine. You don't have to invest a lot of money in this. Let me see here. Create your own eBay studio, photo studio. Okay, so this is how you do this. First of all, think about what it is that you sell. If it's clothing, you want to get one of these mannequins. If it's, you don't need two of them. If it's women's clothes and men's clothes, if it's men's clothes, just turn around so you have a flat front, and then you can hang a men's Aloha shirt or a men's jacket or whatever, or put it on the women's mannequin. It doesn't matter. But this is a great investment for $35 to $40. And let me see here. What you want to do with your studio is if you have room in your place, if you're an eBayer, like you eBay every single day, and you have room in your place to create a permanent studio, great. If you're like me and You don't have that kind of room. Everything I'm telling you right now that you can purchase is stuff that we say in the magic business, it packs small, plays big. And it folds down, you can put it away. What I do is I put up my little home studio and I will take 100 pictures, you know, in a day, and then I have them all stored up, and then I don't have to set up again for another week or two. I've got plenty of pictures to sell my first box of stuff. So that's what I tend to do. Unless you have the room that you want to leave it up all the time, that's up to you. I think it's really handy just to shoot off a lot of pictures of all your items or a big chunk of your items at once, store those photos, and then do another photo day, spend another day doing photography. Okay, so mannequin, right. $35 to $40. You can find them on eBay or Amazon. Now we're going to talk about backdrops. What kind of backdrops do you need to have great photos? Okay, first of all, there's several things that you can do. There's the poor man's way of doing it, which works just fine. Now this is what you're looking at now on this slide. This is a professional photographer's backdrop holder, okay? It's a stand. It folds down. It packs in that little duffel bag that you see. It's a great thing to have if you want your pictures to look super professional. You do not need to own one of these, and I will tell you why. Hold on one second. What I do, I went to a thrift store. Imagine that. I went to a thrift store and I found myself a large, plain, white tablecloth that does not wrinkle easily. No pattern on it whatsoever, nothing like that. You can take some tape or tiny nails and find a nice smooth wall in your house, tack that up, put your mannequin in front of it, instant backdrop. However, if you don't want to put any marks on your wall or tape on your wall, then you can even take this or a white sheet, white, not off-white, no patterns, no checks, no nothing, just plain white. And you can get that stand that he just had the camera. You can get that also on eBay. Those are, oh, there's one right now. There's that one that the picture he put up. It's on eBay right now, brand new, $19.99. So you can find them for under 20 bucks. Yeah, that's under 20 bucks. It's up on eBay right now. It'll work just fine if you don't want to hang things on your wall. But I cannot emphasize enough how important backdrops are to creating good photographs, along with lighting. So that is something that you might want to also consider investing if you do not want to tack up white sheets, a white sheet or white tablecloth in the background. Let me see here. Okay, so he's done that photograph. Okay, now we're going to talk about lighting. This is a big one. Yes. Okay. So do you need to own a professional photographer's lighting kit like this? No, you don't. This is going to take up a lot of room in your house or your apartment. It's not that they're that terribly expensive, but unless you're a professional photographer, you might not know how to use this. I'm going to show you what I use. I'm a professional photographer. Hold on a second. Okay. Do you see one of these? Wait, let me get it right thing. Do you see this? Do you see this? Do you recognize this? Have you ever been in a hardware store? This is one of those clamp-on lights. They clamp on, just like that. They clamp on to pretty much anything. They create great light if you use the right light bulb. And the right light bulb makes all the difference. And we're going to show you. They still make them, Reveal. This is a high def Reveal light bulb. Okay, 100 watts. What a Reveal bulb is, it's a full spectrum natural white light bulb. It will create artificial daylight. Your pictures, your whites will look white. Your colors will be true. If you use, I keep going in the wrong direction. If you use one of these for small items, if you're doing clothing on a mannequin, I would suggest getting 3 of these. They cost a couple bucks at the hardware store. Get some of the Reveal bulbs. You can get the regular bulbs. You can get the flood bulbs, whatever fits in here, but definitely the Reveal full spectrum bulbs. And light your objects up. Like I said, I have 3 of these because I use a mannequin. But if you're just doing small things like jewelry, you probably just need 1. And then if you are if you want the softer light that you see with those soft boxes, that lighting kit that Jason just showed you, if you want a softer light, you can, on eBay, you can find something called diffusion material or diffusion paper for photography. You can buy a couple sheets of that. You place that right over here, and just with duct tape it onto the edge, onto the side here, and it creates a nice soft light, the equivalent to one of those fancy, expensive soft light boxes that you probably don't know how to use, and it'll create the same light, and it'll be great. It helps reduce reflections and things. It's just going to create great light for you, and that's all you need. And like I said, right there, a box of, let me see, you can get 2 bulbs for, well, Ace Hardware, $14.99. These run about $3 or $4 each. Get 3 or 4 of them. Get the box of light bulbs, 100 watt, and you can avoid getting one of these, which are great, but you don't need them. I think, Jason, you have kind of a setup like that, but you have the room in your house. You have a big house, and you've got the room in your house for something like that, don't you?
Yep. Yep. I got 3 box lights and one backdrop, but it's the next project to build multiple backdrops to have, like you said, no patterns, but I definitely use a Hawaiian pattern when I do mugs. And so I'm going to have multiples all on a slide.
Yes, and that is another thing I've got in my notes. We're kind of jumping around here. It shows, Jason, you're being really good with see, I did this whole thing with notes and said slide 5, slide 6, or photo 5, but we're jumping around. He's being great with it. So anyway, I talked about the light bulbs. That's super important, and later in the show, we're going to show you examples of why that is. So these clamp-on lights I just suggested, what do you clamp them onto? All right, so this is going to be photo number 6, Jason. Aha! All right, this is called a camera tripod. And there was a question about tripods earlier. Yes, if you have shaky hands, a tripod is a great thing to have to put your smartphone on or to put your little digital camera on. Otherwise, you really don't need one. But the reason these are great, and this is why if you're going to create your own home photography studio for eBay, go to thrift stores. You can find old used camera tripods for a couple bucks. Because it's old technology for a lot of people. And you can find it for a couple bucks, buy a couple of them, buy 2 or 3 of them. And you can see they raise up, they raise down, they adjust right, left. They're nice and stable. And you just clamp those clamp-on lights I told you to onto the top of those. And there you go. There's your lighting. It surrounds you. It's wonderful. And it's an inexpensive way, once again, creating your own home studio, it will make a world of difference. So that's, tripods. That's when you can use one of those.
How far away do you have your light from your mannequin?
Oh, that's a very good question. It depends on how dark the clothing item is, believe it or not. I tend to have mine about 8 feet away, 8 to 10 feet away. If when you take a picture, if it looks too blurry, pull the lights back. And that's all you do, or turn off one of them, but just pull the lights back, pull, the little tripod lights back, just pull it back. But the darker material does need extra light than a white material. Just trial and error. Just pull it back until when you take a picture, it just looks nice. It's lit up well. There are no hot spots, nothing looks too bright and then too dark. And so that's what I do. I hope that answered your question about that. Let me see here. What have we got? So we got the tripods that you can do. If you are selling smaller items, let's say you're somebody, I don't do clothes, okay? Let's say I do, but let's say you're somebody who goes, I sell little things. I sell shoes, purses, costume jewelry. I don't need a big backdrop. I don't need a sheet. That's great. Yeah, that's even better. You can create your own mini studio with white foam core and I love duct tape, white duct tape, and you create a box and you shoot your lights right into that box. Ha ha. But there is something even easier and better than making yourself. They make these, photo number 8, Jason, if you have that. No, that's not it yet. Photo number 8.
I put them in the order they came. So if we're not so what's number 8 supposed to be?
That's the little, that's
it. There we go. Sorry, my bad.
No, it's good.
I'm gonna go back to my corner.
Yeah, no, we're jumping around a little bit. Get one of these. Look at this. This is on eBay right now for $2.57 plus $7.49 shipping. So we're talking about for $11. Says you doing the loving hands at home, make your own light box. This thing folds down. It's great. You put your light, aim your light in it. This one might even come with a light source. I'm not sure. How perfect is this for jewelry, for shoes, for smaller items, for CDs? It's wonderful. And it folds up when you're done and you put it in your closet. So once again, it's got the instant backdrop already. It's wonderful. I'm going to talk for a second about photographing smaller things, and I'm going to go back to backdrops. Jason, that slide you just had up, the one with the little red thing. There, right there. Okay. Here's another wonderful thing. If you have a smartphone, if you are photographing your eBay things with your cell phone like I do and like Jason does, you're photographing something small like costume jewelry. This thing is called a macro lens adapter. And they sell them, again, you can find them on eBay. They're for your smartphones. You can find them on eBay. You can find them on Amazon. Let's look at the expensive price tag on this, shall we? $7.99 with free shipping. It's an inexpensive little thing. They make, of course, fancier ones. You don't need it. This one will work just fine. It's literally, it slips over the eyepiece, right here on your camera. Oh, you see that right there. It clips on and then slips over the viewfinder. And all of a sudden, whatever you're photographing is magnified. It is so perfect. So if you're selling small items like costume jewelry and you want to show the detail, the workmanship, you're going to be so glad you have this. Spend the money, get that little clip-on thing, because you never know. Even if you're photographing, let's say you're photographing a piece of clothing that has a weave in it, and you want to show people how beautiful the weave is, or has a particularly decorative button, and you try and go up close with your cell phone, and the closer you get, it just gets blurry. You know, that's probably happened to you. Clip it on, have that thing, the little macro lens adapter, and you can go way up close and it's going to look fantastic. And then your buyers are going to look at it and they're going to say, oh man, the detail on that's wonderful. I'm going to bid top dollar. So yeah, you'll be happy you spent the $7.99 on one of those. Do you use LED or CFL light bulbs? I do not use LED. I have yet to find an LED that does not cast a yellow or blue cast onto my merchandise. Like I said, I get the reveal light bulbs. Let's see if I get this any closer. Like this. I hope you can see this. I use 100-watt reveal bulbs. They also come in 60 and I think 40. But I tend to use the 100, but you could also get some 60 if you don't need something quite so bright. But they provide a clear, natural daylight that will not distort your colors in any way. So whites will look white, the blues will look blue. It's fantastic. Make sure, however, when in your home eBay photo studio, that when you're lighting things up, if you have fluorescent lights in your room, otherwise that could alter the color with the two types of bulbs mixed together. So you want to make sure that you turn off any other light sources in the room so it doesn't alter the color. Once again, play with it. Take a sample picture. If you go, ooh, that doesn't look like the right color, turn off the light source in your room. Just use the reveal bulbs and the clamp-on lights or whatever, and it should give you the right colors. Jason, do you have anything you need?
There was an awesome acrobatic show going on behind you while you're explaining that. He was on the tiki bar stool, but he was like playing "Don't Touch the Ground, It's Lava" because he was going in and out but staying up. I'm like, that was awesome.
He's being very good today. Normally, if I'm home, she's yelling to go outside, and I think she knows that mom's doing something important today.
Yeah.
So, speaking of mom, I've got my mom right here next to me who's never seen a web show, and I told her about that you do your weekly show with your mom. And being thrifty over 50. And so I said, Mom, you want to see what a webinar show? So she's sitting right next to me. And
let's see her.
Mom, lean in for a second.
You can't introduce her and we don't get to see her.
This is my mom, Lee.
And she's a young 47.
She's a young 47. She had me at
He's got to be
20.
too old.
But yeah, your mom says you got her too old.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
All right. So anyway, so far everything I've talked to you about, in terms of inexpensive backdrops, backdrop, professional backdrop holder for photography, the macro lens adapter for your smartphone. What else have I talked about? Finding those used tripods at thrift stores, finding used white but clean sheets at thrift stores, or a good white tablecloth, no patterns in it. Everything I've told you so far is that little mini little studio that folds down. If you bought all of that, and the mannequin, if you bought all that stuff, you're talking about you're under $75, no more than $75 for a home studio. Now, if you need to get the digital camera, if you feel more comfortable using an actual camera, add $100 to that. $175. This is going to be totally worth it, and I'm going to show you why.
My mom says your mom is beautiful. There.
That's Jason's mom just tuned in and says that I've got a beautiful. Okay, here is a slide. Let me tell you about this plaid skirt for a second. What color is this plaid skirt? You there watching at home, what colors are in that plaid skirt? Can you tell? Because I can't tell. I think it could be some kind of blue. I can't tell if that's bright red or a dark red. Is that yellow? Is that turquoise in there? The only person who bought this skirt, and it was up on eBay for quite a while, was me. And the reason I bought this skirt was it's a J. Peterman skirt, which is a high-end skirt, high-end clothing company. You've probably heard of them. I knew the quality of the skirt. I'd seen this photo. I'd seen the illustration of it in their catalog from a year or two ago. And so I knew what a quality skirt this was, and I knew what colors it was. This is why there are a lot of things wrong with this picture. So anyway, this is a skirt that sold originally for $200. I bought it for $35. Nobody bid against me because they looked at this and couldn't tell what colors it was. What's that on the bottom? Is that lace? Is that a shadow? It's hanging on a cheap hanger, and let's look at all the different background designs we see behind it. And the lighting is yellow. This is just regular room, probably an LED bulb in the room. So you can't tell the colors. The background is distracting. They could have had on this skirt multiple bids on this skirt because this is a super great skirt, but they didn't. I bought it because I knew what it was. So this is an example of a bad eBay photo for clothing. You have no idea how it drapes. You can't even really tell how long it is. This is no bueno, as we say. So this is why an example of why lighting, a mannequin, and why backdrops are so important, whether it's clothing or whether it's jewelry. It doesn't matter. You got to make your customers, when your customers look at a picture, they need to, potential customers, I should say, they need to look at it. How would you want to see the item? Okay, if you were going into a fancy jewelry store and you were looking at a beautiful pin, would you want to look at it on an old checkered tablecloth with yellowed lighting that's blurry? Would you buy that item if you were looking at it that way? Or would you, if it were on a nice piece of black velvet, beautifully lit, and you could look in close in the details and see the quality of it? You want to set up things the way that they would look if you wanted to buy it, or as if you were going into a fancy store. And that's the truth. This is your eBay store. Make it something, don't make it look like you're rummaging through. You might have bought it at the Goodwill, but don't make your item look like you bought it at the Goodwill, okay? Right now.
A person had found a vintage Hawaii Kai bamboo tiki mug in the thrifting board this past week. And I was just scrolling through the newest eBay tiki mug tiki mug listings on eBay last night, and I find a Hawaii Kai bamboo tiki mug. And so I go back to his original post and I post a link. I go, "Is this your listing?" And he goes, "Yeah." "Did I do something wrong?" I go, "You have your hand in every picture." I go, "Just put the dang mug down the table, take a picture." He goes, "I knew you were going to say that." I go, "Yes, be professional. It's easy as getting your hand out of the photo."
Yes. Well, we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna show the difference, and it's such an easy fix. for you people. It's really such an easy fix. And, you know, with your photos, in a way, you want to give people the fantasy that they're buying something really wonderful. And yeah, I mean, it might be something as simple as a CD, you know, or just a blouse or something, but give them, like I said, don't make your eBay store look like a thrift store. You know, and make sure you always, whatever the picture is that you put up, the first picture that you put up, and Jason will agree with me on this, have it be the full picture, full image, not a detailed picture. Catch their attention with the full image of what it is you're selling, and then go and use the rest of the rest of the 11 pictures that you have, free pictures you have available to go in for the details and the angles. And here's what the back of the thing looks like. Here's the back of the, you know, here's the front, here's the side, here's a detail. Here's a photo of this little flaw you should know about. Oh, and with flaws, there's another thing. Make sure that if there's a chip on something, or there's a jewel missing, or a cracked button, or something that you're not going to fix before you sell it, put something like a nickel or a dime or a quarter or whatever would be equivalent to whatever the size of the issue is, or a pencil with a sharpened pencil tip next to it, or a ruler, so that when people want to know how bad the damage is, that'll also give them a really good idea of is this noticeable or not? Can I fix this? Is it going to be an issue for me, or is it just really not a big problem? No one's going to notice that, and I love this piece, so I'm going to buy it anyway. So make sure that you use reference items so people can tell if there's damage, how big things are. Okay, so he's got my slide about jewelry. I know a lot of people love to sell costume jewelry. I do too. When you are wearing jewelry, do you wear it like flat down? Are you flat down wearing your jewelry? No, you are not flat down. It is this way. People are looking at you this way, whether you're wearing a necklace or you're wearing earrings or you're wearing a pin, they're looking at you this way. So invest in one of those jewelry mannequins. They're jewelry usually called necklace mannequins or neck mannequins. They come in all different sizes. You know, why not get the biggest one? Because you can use it for necklaces, and then you can also use it on the lower part just for pins or brooches, or for pierced earrings. You can stick those right in there and nobody know that there's a neck above, because you're just going to be shooting this part of it. Get one of those if you're shooting costume jewelry. Also get yourself a piece of just plain black velvet or velveteen, in case you do want to shoot down for any reason. You can use that. There's a reason that jewelry stores use black velvet when displaying their finery. It really shows off jewelry beautifully. So I highly recommend getting a piece of black velvet. It's, you know, just like 12-inch by 12-inch, you know, something like that, 16 by 16, and also one of these jewelry mannequins. That is a great way to take much better jewelry pictures that will look totally professional with a nice plain background or a fuzzy background in the back. That'll work great. Let me see here. Yeah, just pretend, you know, you're in a fancy jewelry store. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about photographing clothing again. And once again, this just is inspiration. This relates to everything. Hold on one second. Looking where this is.
Did I screw up the order again?
No, you're fine.
Okay. Phew.
I'm just looking at my notes.
Whew.
No, I'm because of jumping around. I'm giving you a workout today.
All right. Yeah, no, my fingers are sweating.
Okay. This is an example. This is another. And once again, if somebody's watching this and they recognize their listing, I'm not going to say anything. I'm sure you're a lovely person. But this is a photo that somebody had. This was the main photo, the only photo actually outside of a couple detail photos where they're trying to sell this skirt. What is wrong with this picture? What does not belong here? First of all, they only displayed the skirt slumped over a cheap hanger, clearly against their door or their wall. I have no idea what that skirt looks like. I have no idea if it's an A-line skirt, if it's a long skirt, if it's got a zipper, if it's got anything. I can't tell how this skirt hangs. Can you tell what this skirt is? Can you know? So Jason, if you want to go to the next slide in this series, I think there were 3 of them. Yeah, I do appreciate, here's what they did do right, however. They went in for details, okay? So they went and showed you the elastic waistband. It has a good elastic waistband on the inside. and that the inside is got the reverse polka dots. So they showed you that. And then Jason, if you want to go to the next slide, next photo, and they showed you that it's lined. Okay. And now the lighting was pretty good here. I can see that it's kind of a teal and black polka dot, tiny polka dot skirt. It's lined. They did those two things right. But the first picture and the only picture that showed the skirt was that thing hung over the hanger. Don't do that. That's why you need a mannequin. Even if you were to hang it up on a hanger with the clips, you still can't see how something's hanging. You can't tell anything about it.
And the coloring is so different in all three of these.
Yes.
I mean, am I getting this, or this? Because they're all different.
Exactly. You can't tell. That's why having one good light source, use the same bulb, use the same lighting for each thing. And I know it's a big pet peeve of Jason's as well. Okay. So then there's, let me see here. There's a photo number, the 14 I sent you, Jason, which is the floral skirt. There we go. Here's a floral skirt, okay? Probably the same type of chiffon type fabric as the other skirt, but they used that $35 mannequin torso that I told you about. Now, I can tell everything about this. There's a non-distracting white background, okay? So it makes the colors really pop. It's been lit beautifully, so I can tell that that is a red and a black, and it looks like there might be a little bit of mustard yellow. I'm sure the detail picture showed that. I can tell how it fits on the hip. I can tell how it flows down. If I saw that skirt, I mean, would you buy the polka dot one that you can't tell the color of that's hanging over a hanger? Or would you buy this skirt? Easy to do. $35 mannequin is going to make all the difference for you, and good lighting and a simple backdrop. Let me see here. Then there's one, the next one, which had a floral skirt against a floral background. I think that was picture number 15, Jason. All right. Cheap hanger, yellowed lighting. I can't tell what color skirt this is. And look at that lovely background that just is like, this is like enough to cause an epileptic fit right here, because it's got, thank you, Jason. This is not how you want to sell clothing right here. You've got you've got bad lighting. It's on a hanger. You can't tell the color, and it's got a backdrop that is conflicting with what you're trying to sell. All right, so don't do this. This is another reason. Plain white background. Let's go to the next one here. I had, and it's also kind of blurry. All right. Oh, this is one of my favorite photos. I was actually looking for a particular vintage purse, and somebody had listed the purse on eBay. And when you're listing purses, once again, details. Here's the outside of the purse. Here's the front, the back, the bottom. You can see any kind of damage. You want to see the inside of the purse. I can't tell what this is. What is this? And it's supposed to be the inside of the purse. A lot of things wrong here. First of all, super, super blurry, not lit. So easy to fix. If you have two of those clamp-on lights on the tripods, or just even clipped above you, shining down into this purse, you'll have enough light. Your pictures will not be blurry at all, unless, of course, you've got some sort of medical condition where you've got the shakes, in which case, use a tripod. Okay, open up the purse, put it on a table, shoot the lights into it, have a little mini tripod, put your thing on there. But how is this supposed to tell me? I can't tell if this purse inside's got stains. I can't tell if it's got zippered pockets. I can't tell anything. This is a bad eBay photo. So yeah, this is where, again, good lighting will make all the difference. I know, Peggy, you're dizzy. I'm dizzy too. Somebody was, why would you even post up a picture like that? That tells me absolutely nothing. Okay, so we've got the next one, photo number 17. Yes, here's another thing. And this is not so much about photography. This is about photography as well, making your pictures really look good. This skirt is not supposed to be wrinkled. Okay, this is not a broomstick skirt. This is just a lazy eBayer. Get a steamer, get an iron your clothing before you put them on the mannequin. And, you know, because if I don't know, I'm going to sit there and say, well, this is a rumply skirt. Maybe it's a linen skirt. Maybe it's supposed to look like this. I don't want a rumpled skirt. You're going to lose sellers. Just take the few minutes and iron your items. Let me see here. Now we have photo number 18. And it's a floral skirt against a door. There we go. This is another, okay. What colors are in this skirt? I'm glad I can see with the tag that it's new with tags. That's great. The doorknob is a wonderful feature to this photo. Why? I know you're hanging off the back of your door. You don't have to. Even if you just hung a white sheet over the top of your door and hung it down, it would have been better than that. But, you know, so it's yellowed lighting. I have no idea what colors the skirt are. It just looks like mud to me, multicolored mud. So once again, lighting, backdrop. Take me seriously on this. Let me see. What's our next thing here? We've got a photo of a black and white set. Okay, here is a wonderful photo. This is one of those things where I'm going to talk about where background can actually, oh yeah, Debbie, you're absolutely right. You can, when you're ironing clothing items to sell, you can find, if you don't iron them, you might not know that there's a moth hole someplace in there or a tiny stain. All these things that you have to tell your potential customers, you got to tell them their flaws. So yeah, when you iron it, sometimes you find some problems that sometimes you can even fix before you put them up for sale. So yes, iron your stuff. Okay, here's one of the exceptions I like to make when you're photographing items, in this case, clothing. First of all, she used one of these mannequins, which are great. I prefer the light colored ones. They also sell them in black, and sometimes they have patterns. Don't get those. Get the white one or the white one with the black trim. It'll make your clothing items pop better. But here is stuff going on in the background. There's a beautiful dresser. There's a lamp. There's some wrought iron little artsy piece. This person is selling a dream with the skirt. What they're selling you, which is what I love about this, they found a beautiful thing in their house. Their house must be very nice. And basically what they're telling you is, if you buy this skirt, you're going to have this pretty lifestyle. You're going to be as elegant as the stuff in my house. It's a lovely backdrop. It's not showing doorknobs. It's not showing old ancient wallpaper. It's a nice backdrop. Something like this would work. You can create a scenario of a lifestyle with your clothing if you want, and that, as long as it's not too distracting, it really works. I would consider this actually a pretty good fashion photo. So that's one of the exceptions I have about different backdrops other than just a plain crisp white. Let me see here. What have we got here? What's the next thing here? Yeah. Wait, what did I say here? I said, if the photo is feminine and tasteful, and you will be too if you buy this skirt. Okay. Now we're talking about aloha shirts. I'm going to make comments after these ones here too. This is where lighting, again, and a mannequin would have helped. I believe this is a turquoise shirt, but I can't tell if the contrasting color is white or if it's beige. I know it matches the incredibly beige wall, yellowy beige wall. If they had one of these clamp-on lights or two with the reveal full spectrum bulbs, HD bulbs, we would know for certain. And the person who's looking for a nice crispy turquoise and white shirt would probably snap this up. What's the next aloha shirt that we have, Jason? Yeah, that one. That is a rockin' great shirt. I mean, it's red and green, black, brown, purple. I can't tell. I can't tell what the contrasting color is, but I know that the graphics on it look pretty good. But again, they would look better if it were lit up. Okay, so we could see the colors and nice bright colors. And you know, they have, if you look in this photo, they've featured the fact that they have an electrical plug near this shirt where one of these clamp-on lights could have been plugged into. So boo on them. Such an easy fix for a couple bucks.
It's so nice to see the cable jack, you know.
Yeah, cable jack. Think about what you're photographing. When we get to the section on mirrors and reflective items, this is going to be, that's my favorite section. So let me see. I want to make sure I don't have okay. So yeah, which is the Stan Lee one. Okay, this is a collector's. For all you comic book friends out there, this is a cool Stan Lee.
You can call them nerds. They know.
No, I'm not going to call them nerds because I'm a nerd. I love magic. I love Disneyland. I'm and I love tiki, so I'm a triple threat nerd. But I have lots of friends who are into comics and comic books, and as you eBayers know, there's some big money to be made. This is Stan Lee, who was one of the legends of comic book history. All the Marvel comics and stuff, Spider-Man, all that stuff, Stan Lee. This is a wonderful, wonderful sculpture of him. It's about this big. I took this one with natural daylight with my iPhone 6. So yes, if you have a newer phone than my iPhone 6, it's going to be even crisper than this. But this is the iPhone 6, so I took this. So this would be, if I were selling this sculpture, which I'm not because it's my boyfriend's and he'd kill me. But if I were selling this sculpture, this would probably be my first picture in the ad. This is what you'd see, you know? And then the next couple of pictures would include the next slides, Jason. Yeah, going for the details, all right? Once again, this one I didn't even need a macro lens for because it wasn't that close. And you can see some on the edging that there's some wear on the edging. And then the next picture. Hi, John Davis. Welcome, nerd. Here's another one that I took with the iPhone 6. And it's showing the detail of the glove, of Thanos' glove that he's wearing. Pretty cool stuff. And go in for the details. And once again, don't be intimidated. I shot this iPhone 6 natural daylight at the table I'm sitting at right now. You can do better. And the reason you use people, oh, well, why don't I just use natural daylight all the time? Well, are you home all the time with natural daylight? Do you live someplace where it's dark and cloudy for 6 months of the year? Like my friends in Minnesota who have, you know, gray and overcast days, or Portland, Oregon, and you want eBay, or you don't get home till night, get those clamp-on lights. You can be a photographer. You can be posting stuff at eBay at 3 in the morning if you want, and if it's well lit. All right, so now this is one of my favorite subjects, and I know it's Jason's too. How do you photograph reflective items? Mirrors can be tricky. They're also difficult to ship, but people love antique mirrors and collectible mirrors. I pulled this photo off of eBay because I thought they did a pretty good job. Photographing mirrors is difficult because it's reflecting whatever is out in your room. The trick about photographing mirrors is do not photograph them straight on, because you will be in the image. You and your kids and your dog and your dirty sink full of dishes, everything will be reflected. So first of all, make sure you are standing to the side. Second of all, what I would have changed with this picture, what I've done, it was different. It's not horrible, but it's reflecting that they have some beautiful, you know, brown tile work in this bathroom. Clearly, you're seeing part of their vanity. All you would need to do is hang a white backdrop directly across from the mirror and drape it over that corner of the vanity. And all that would have been reflected would have been the mirror, and what your eye would have been drawn to would have been the frame around the mirror, the beautiful woodwork on there. Okay, but they did a pretty okay job. Mainly they put themselves at the angle so you didn't see them. You want to show the next slide, Jason? This has got to be one of my favorites. This person is trying to photograph.
This is badass.
Isn't this brilliant? I want to meet this person because I think they must have a great sense of humor.
You know, and if they would have just taken their phone and angled it, and they could have brought their hand all the way down on the angle, you wouldn't see them at all.
Yeah.
How about the angles?
But I like that they clearly this is against the wall opposite the banister railing of their upstairs of their house. So they leaned it up. First of all, you've got some do you see on the right-hand side of this image, the hot spots where the lighting isn't even, but you can kind of see that it's reflective gold paint, okay. But then they stuck their hand through the banister and shot it. And all you need to do, how do we fix this picture, all right? So easy. That white sheet or backdrop, drape it over the banister. You get up next to the mirror, stand to either the right or the left of it so that you're not reflected in it. Problem solved. But this still makes me giggle, and I applaud you, whoever took this picture. Okay, so the next few pictures we're going to show you, if you have small children or you have delicate sensibilities, you might want to avert your eyes. This man is photographing some. Exactly, Debbie. Clearly, he did not install his side mirrors in his car in time because he got in a car accident, I'm sure. And now he's selling them because the car is totaled. That's my storyline that goes with this. So you're seeing that he is in a neck brace from something terrible, which is a shame. And then we're also seeing his tablecloth, and it looks like some cords and there's a Halloween pumpkin figurine. So once again, somebody who's buying car parts, they probably don't care. They're not looking for artistic car parts. But how hard would it have been to just put this down on that white tablecloth I told you about, or white sheet, put them side by side, or even like this, stand to the side, take the picture. Make sure you don't have anything rude going on the ceiling of your roof. There's a light fixture. Pull the sheet down so the light fixture isn't reflected above. But that's one of those ones. It's a super easy fix. Just think, look what's in the image before you take the image and post it. Here's a reason why. Next slide, Jason. I don't know how well you can see this on your phone. Look at the upper monitor of the screen. Somebody, once again, they didn't want their face to be in the picture. Once again, this could have been solved by photographing to the side. They didn't want their face to be in the picture, but they felt that it was okay to have their naked butt in the picture and put the cell phone between their legs and shoot it that way. I think I would have rather seen their face, although they look pretty fit, so that's good.
I mean, that's a lot of work to stand backwards, get it exactly right. God, talk about doing way more work than you have to.
And you're naked. Now, if you are incredibly fit and perky, you might get a whole lot of bids if you photograph your reflective items naked and with you in them. That may absolutely happen, but I would save that for the third date. Let's have another slide with some creative reflective items. Sunglasses.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, these just delight me. The red and white check background is, actually what that is, that's like a rubber mat that keeps your glasses from slipping in your cupboards. It cushions your, so it's kind of tacky. What would have been cool, because they're kind of going for that like 50s retro thing, maybe a red and white cloth background would have been kind of cool, or in this case, maybe a leopard print would have been kind of cool and given it that Viva Las Vegas thing. But instead they choose to be, it looks like, in their jock strap, I think, and photograph
banana hammock, maybe
banana hammock, and just going for that. And so I don't know, if I were a girl, I might sit there and go, I think I want to buy those sunglasses because there's like this kind of fit guy in a banana hammock who's selling them to me. So I'm going to have a fantasy that they were on this guy. But if you're a guy and these are guys' sunglasses and you're going to buy, you're probably not going to kind of like, ew, there's an ew factor here. I'm not going to buy this. So once again, how would we have fixed this? Simpler backdrop, okay? Backdrop behind. So I think are those bongs up on the shelf? I can't quite tell. But we're seeing basically his accoutrements on his shelf.
Yeah, I don't know.
And his underwear, or whatever that is that he's wearing, thong, floss, whatever. Just stand to the side. Make sure that whatever overexposure, exactly. There's not enough SPF or whatever it is that they have in sunglasses to keep you from going blind from this one. The next one, I think it might be from my favorite. I'm trying to see. What's the next one? Oh, this is okay, ladies. Small. I don't even know what he's selling. What is this, Jason? Do you know what this is?
I have no idea, but yes, you are seeing what you think you're seeing.
That's just.
My.
This isn't NBC or CBS. But yeah, this guy he creatively straddled over his item bare naked. It's a
scanner. I think it's a scanner.
It's a scanner. Well, scan this.
Yeah.
First of all, what's he been scanning? He seems to be very comfortable in this position over his scanner. Oh
my.
Once again, how would we photograph the scanner? Okay. Stand to the side. I know, exactly, Stacy. Hi, Stacy. And yeah, so reflective materials, there are ways Oh my God, good things were going. Yeah, you're going to church last night. Pray for this man. Pray for him. Yes.
I can honestly say that no other guest expert has brought in pubic hair to a presentation.
I'm so happy to be the first. You know, I really want. First of all, I believe in, because we're getting close to the end of this thing. I believe in leaving people with a laugh, but I also want them to be very aware of being a better photographer. That reflective surfaces are important to be like. You're so busy snapping the picture, you forget that there's another image in this picture, and it's going to be you or some part of you or your house or something you might not want the public to see. So use that backdrop, that nice plain white backdrop. Reflective items, stand aside. We're talking about tea kettles, mirrors, computers, sunglasses, all that sort of stuff. And I'm going to say a couple more things about backdrops, which is that we talked about that I am a big fan of the plain white backdrop, not off-white, not pattern, not nothing. If you look at some of the great fashion photography over the years, these famous fashion photographers tended to use a plain white backdrop unless they were on location, creating an illusion, like that one slide we showed you of the skirt with the lovely dresser and everything, where they're creating a lifestyle picture. Your lifestyle will change to get the purse. But some other backdrops that I occasionally use, because I sell tiki mugs like Jason does, and tiki stuff and retro stuff. Hey, look at this satin leopard print sheet I got at a thrift store. Works really great with certain tiki mugs or certain retro things or sunglasses or lingerie. Sometimes that can be a real, like I said, once again, it enhances the photo. It makes the person think I'm going to have that sexy lifestyle if I buy that thing, right? There's a volcano mug next to it. Pretty clashing. I wouldn't use this with this, okay? Because you can see it tracks. This is from a magic show in Polynesian Waikiki. It's a wonderful volcano mug, trying to get it straight. But you see with all this color and everything that's going on here, you can see that that really takes away from the mug and the colors and the pattern and all that. That's where you would want to probably use a white sheet, okay? Look at the difference. I can see the reds, the yellows, the greens, the browns. It really pops, okay? Not distracting. Even if you use a color, like sometimes when I've done retro things or lingerie, because it's sexy, red is a sexy color, I've used a red backdrop, a red sheet. And even if something like this, it's okay, you know, it's okay, but it's not great. Did you see the difference that the white makes? So pick your backdrops carefully. White will always be your friend unless you're photographing like white blouses and you don't want white against white, in which case then I'd pop a red sheet behind it, or I'd pop a leopard print or off-white or pale blue or something like that. Remember also backdrops, whatever your backdrop is, can sometimes reflect on your item and change its color too, just in the photo, of course. It's not that magical, but it can also reflect against your item and change the color. So always go with white unless you're photographing an all-white item, in which case you might want to do an alternating color. But that's it. I think I'm trying to think if I got anything else. No, thank you for the last bit with the mirrors and some of those delightful photos. As I said, I like to leave people laughing, and I think we need a lot more laughter these days. So I hope that gave everybody a good chuckle wherever they are watching this. Are there any other? I think we covered all these pages of notes I did.
Look at that, the most thorough. I was telling I was telling Stacy just a little bit ago. I'm like, on presentations I do on the computer, when I do the presentation, I have never written a word down, and I don't even practice. I just go. And when I saw your script, I'm like, oh, is that what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah. No, I'm a television script supervisor. That's my main way of supporting myself in the TV business and television shows. A lot of them you've probably seen. So I'm used to typing things up and following. I jumped around a lot today. Jason was great keeping up with me. I know I probably missed some awesome jokes that I wrote. Did we miss any slides? Did we miss any pictures? Did we get them all?
Yeah. Paul has a question.
Oh.
Would you use a black backdrop?
Yes. Depends on what you're photographing. Obviously, if you're photographing a black jacket, no, because everything will blend in unless you're a really good photographer and you know how to create backlighting on that object. But I would use a black backdrop if I were photographing a white piece of clothing,
or perhaps that shag mug above your shoulder,
or that shag. Yeah,
there's all other shoulder. Yeah,
everything's reversed here. There we go.
That's an all white mug. Heck yeah, you could not do that on a white background. No. You would never see the mug.
You'd never see the mug. So once again, and you know, in your home photo studio, yes, professional photographers have these use these paper rolls, and they can be quite heavy, and they come in every color in the rainbow, and you know, greens and blues and whites and 7 different shades of whites and things like that. You can go crazy. Create your own home studio with thank you, Peggy. With a you can keep a box of simple sheets and tablecloths with no patterns or anything. They're nice and clean in like 5 or 6 colors and patterns. And depending on what the item is, put it behind the item and see, God, this really makes it look good. This really makes it stand out. So yeah, but black backdrops are good if you're photographing white or very light colored items. Yeah, I do actually have black backdrop.
When I bought my first black, I bought a piece of black velvet for white mugs and things like that. Yeah. And what I did was I went to a Hobby Lobby or Michael's, or not Michael's, one of the ones that has all the fabrics. Mm-hmm. So I took an item with me. That would be something I would normally photograph. I pulled out all the rolls of the black velvet. I took a picture. I walked away and I looked at it in the corner, came back, took it on the next black velvet and looked again until I found what my eye said was pretty true and looked pretty good. And so when you go to a place like a Hobby Lobby or Joann's, you have all these fabrics to choose from. And if you're doing smalls, like that mug's not that big, you don't need a big piece. You just need enough. And so, you know, take it with you. Go experiment.
Yeah, absolutely. Go experiment. And an even cheaper way to experiment is, like I said, you go to a thrift store, you find bed sheets, the flat ones, not the ones with the elastic on the edge, because
not the fitted ones. But they're creeping around the item.
Everything I showed you that I use as my backdrops, this is a bed sheet. This is a red, clean bed sheet. Got at the thrift store. The leopard print was as I ducked down to get it, bed sheet, flat bed sheet, thrift store. The white one was a white tablecloth, thrift store. And you just can store them in a box, or you can, you know, you don't want your backdrops to get rumpled. Another way to do it is to get a piece of dowel wood, and you can roll it around the dowel and then tie it, and then it keeps them from ever wrinkling, and you just have them propped up against the wall, and you can just use your backdrops that way, or steam them out when you do use them. But if you are spending too much time taking photos for eBay and you are taking bad photos, this is so easy to correct. Create your own home studio with the things I told. Do I need to recap, or are we out of time?
No, you're good.
Okay. For those of you who came in late, I'm all about creating your own.
Oh, don't worry about them. They'll go back and watch. So don't worry.
Oh, will they? Okay, I don't have to read. I forgot about that. They can watch.
No, don't worry about them, because you know that's the joys of the Secret Beach. You can watch as many times as you want, whatever you want. Yeah,
but it's just create your own home studio. You can do it for $75 or less, or $175 if you feel you need to get yourself a really good, inexpensive digital camera that you can use for travel and taking pictures of your family and making memories with. A multi-purpose camera, not just an eBay camera. You use it for everything. I have to keep putting my glasses on because people are writing things and I can't see. Thumbs up. Thank you.
Paul said, great information. Now I have to take the information and improve my photo area.
Yeah.
So Paul, if you are going to really do that, take a before and after. That'd be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, lighting, the right bulbs, the clamp-on lights, lighting your things properly, putting them on a mannequin or putting jewelry on a thing or black velvet. Just imagine how I had when I was a film student, we had a seminar about how to photograph food, okay, which is actually something I'm doing next week with Valerie Bertinelli on her television show. I'm talking about how to photograph food on her show. But he used a great phrase, which is when you're photographing food, it's got to make the bunny's nose twitch. With your photographs, with the stuff that you're putting up on eBay, it's got to make your customer's nose twitch. They got to look at it, and it's got to look like it's in a beautiful, well-loved, beautifully maintained, simple. They can imagine themselves wearing it, owning it, having it on their shelf, whatever. if it looks junky, if it's in bad lighting and yellowed or contrasting backgrounds, it's just going to look like, oh, this looks messy. It looks like, oh, they did get it at a thrift store or from an estate sale. Nobody has to know. I mean, it could be off of Fifth Avenue as far as if you photograph it correctly with the right backdrops, it can look spectacular. I need a sip from this limited edition mug.
Look at her showing off her tiki mugs.
Not mine, my boyfriend's, with the Star Wars swizzle stick.
Very nice. So John said he was late, but he did have a note. So, all right, everyone who tuned in live, thank you very much for tuning in live. If you tuned in after the fact, Kari is in the Secret Beach. So if you do have any questions, feel free to, if it's something totally new about photography, start a new post. If not, drop it into the post about the show today.
There was one thing, Jason. There's somebody who wrote in on the post when you announced this about the backdrop, eBay backdrop.
Yeah, so eBay's got this new feature on the app. You can remove the backdrop, and I played with it before, and I played with it yesterday. I'll do a quick video. I'll have Stacy shoot over my shoulder while I'm doing it. That'll be the best way to show that. So I'll do like a quick 2-minute this week. I'm going to do a pic collage video this week and how to use the new removal thing. It's pretty simple and easy. But if you've never used anything like that, you might not even know where to start. So we'll do that this week for sure.
That's a really cool feature. That sounds, I don't know anything about that, but that sounds really interesting. But guys, I hope if you watch this, when you watch this, watch it again, take the notes down, find these things at hardware stores and thrift stores, and just know that your $75 investment will bring you back so much more, because you're going to get more bids. If your pictures look great, multiple people are going to bid on it because it's going to look so appealing. And that makes all the difference. And I'm here, just like Jason is here. We're here because we want you to make as much money doing this thing that you love as possible.
Absolutely. So thank you very much, Kari. I couldn't imagine a better webinar from a more awesome person. So I want to say thank you for this month's Typhoon in the Secret Beach. And we'll see you next month with some more new awesome stuff. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Aloha.
Aloha.